Today we're talking to Manisha Thakor. Sorry, let me try that one more time. 3, 2, 1. Today we are talking to Manisha Thakor, Director of Wealth Strategies for Women. Excuse me, I'm getting fatigued as well.
Yeah,
Stand by.
me
Here we
too.
go. In 3, 2, 1. Today we are talking to Manisha Thakor, Director of Wealth Strategies for Women, Buckingham and the BAM Alliance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Why is a FICO score important and why should you check it?
Your FICO score is a 3-digit number that summarizes how responsible you are in managing credit. It ranges from 300 to 850, and a higher number is better. It's used in 90% of lending decisions, and that's why it's so vitally important. And it's also important to note that a FICO score is different than a generic credit score precisely because it's the FICO score that's used in 90% of lending decisions.
Why do home business owners set a budget and stick to it?
It's very important for virtually anyone, you as an individual or you as a home business owner, unless money is absolutely no object, to set a budget and stick to it. And one of the key ways to do that is to make sure that you have some kind of very simple methodology that you can use on a daily basis to keep track of your expenses, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or it's Quicken or it's some form of a setup that you have worked out with your CPA. But the key to success with creating and sticking to a budget is having a system that is simple to implement so that you don't put it on the back burner and let it all pile up.
What are some ways to manage bills and balances?
When it comes to managing bills and balances, I think a great framework is to think about the various different elements that comprise a FICO score, because they also help, just broadly speaking, with managing your overall finances. So let me run through those with you. 35% of your FICO score is based on whether or not you pay your bills on time. So great step to take there is to set up online bill pay. That way you, no matter how busy your home business gets, you're assured that your bills are going to be paid on time. 30% of your FICO score is based on your debt utilization ratio, which is the ratio of how much debt you currently have outstanding relative to your total credit limits. And there you want to try and keep that number below 30% if you can. So using any additional unexpected windfall of cash flow to pay down existing debts can be a great step. A third component, which is 15% of your FICO score, is your credit history, the length, and that includes both how long your longest credit card has been open as well as just the average of the items that are currently active credits for you. And so limiting how much new credit you open up helps, because new credit would then shorten that average history period. And then the final two factors, each of which contribute about 10% to your FICO score, include having a mix of different types of loans, showing that you're able to manage different types of credits. And the final item is new credit inquiries. Too many can be a negative, so you want to keep those to a minimum.
How are home business owners at risk for identity theft and fraud, and how can they avoid it?
Identity theft and fraud is something that many people are understandably concerned about today, with so many of us doing our banking and conducting transactions over the internet. And a great way to help keep an eye on this is to utilize technology to set up alerts on both your credit cards and in your traditional bank accounts, so that you're notified real time of activity that's occurring, and if anything untoward shows up, that you know about it right away and are able to take steps to address and correct it right away.
Why should people avoid new store credit cards?
One of the things that comes up a lot when you're a home business owner or just a general human being is whether or not to accept offers to open up a store credit card. It can sound really inviting on the surface. You might get 10, 20% off your current purchase. But there are a couple of different issues that go on here. One, if you say yes to an application for a store credit card, what's going to happen next is there's going to be an inquiry on your credit reports, and that could negatively affect your FICO score. Two, as we talked about earlier, if you have too many new forms of credit, that shortens the length of your average credit history, which can negatively impact your credit score. And then store cards oftentimes have significantly higher than average interest rates and penalty fees if you're late with payments. And so for all of those reasons combined, you want to think long and hard about whether a store card is the right decision for that particular situation.
How can home business owners cut costs around the holidays?
I think one of the best ways to cut costs around the holidays is to just be really mindful and conscious about where your spending is going. And one of the best ways to do that is to set a specific budget, a dollar amount, and then have a very clear strategy around it. So one strategy might be that you're going to go wide and shallow, a lot of different gifts or expenditures for people, but in small amounts, or narrow and deep. Few very large purchases, but by having a clear strategy of whether you're going wide and shallow or narrow and deep, you can prevent yourself from the absolute budget buster, which is going wide and deep. And so having that kind of mindset and being very thoughtful about what the strategy is that your limited dollars are going to be following can help you stick to this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.